The Nazgul are riding across Middle-earth in search of the One Ring.
Disguised as riders in black.
Leading them at the behest of Sauron is
the Witch King of Angmar.
the strongest and most dangerous among them. But they now have a lead on where the ring resides after capturing the twisted Gollum and torturing him for information. With this new information, they have learned it is in the Shire in the hand of somebody by the name of Baggins. And that is where we are going to go with the Nazgul to help them get the ring today.
Send forth all legions.
The variation of the Witch King that we are going to use for this deck is the Lord of the Nazgul, found within the Hosts of Mordor precon deck. For those that don't know what it does, the Lord of the Nazgul is 3, a blue, and a black for a 4/3 flying Wraith Noble that says Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers, and whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black Wraith creature token with Menace. Then, if you control 9 or more Wraiths, Wraiths you control have base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. This commander screams Wraith Commander deck, where you want to get quickly as possible to as many Wraiths on the board as you can to get that last part active and make them all base 9/9s. But there's a problem. We're lacking many impact Wraiths in the entire history of Magic. If you don't believe me, go to Scryfall, search for the Wraith creature type. I'll wait. Yeah, that's a total of 11 creatures in the entire history of Magic, 5 of which were actually printed in this set. So how do we go about making this a Wraith deck with a lack of Wraiths to work with? Well, since we're in blue, we do have access to cloning, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to hit that crucial 9 Wraith threshold as fast as we can so we can torment our opponents. Now, the Lord of the Nazgul also has a built-in ability to make 3/3 Wraith tokens, so let's push this to silliness. First and foremost, we need the 9 Nazgul that come in the main set. These will make a significant core of the Wraiths that we have in the deck, but this will also pump up every other Wraith that we have every time the ring tempts us. And then these things also do the ring tempt on their ETBs, and they can grow out of control really fast within the right build. We also need another version of the Leader of the Nazgul in his other forms in this deck. We're also going to include the Witch King of Angmar and the Witch King Bringer of Ruin. Bringer of Ruin's variant is going to attack and munch on our opponent's weakest creatures, while the other form, the Witch King of Angmar, is going to allow us to deter attackers lest they allow us to tempt the ring more and more and make our wraiths bigger and bigger. We're also going to play what I call the team photo version of the Nazgul, the Ring Wraiths, a 5/5/6 cast beater that can zap a creature when it comes into play, and then you can bring it back every time you tempt with the ring to do it over again. The rest of the Wraiths of Magic are going to sit this one out, though, because unequivocally, they suck. Most of them are 5-drop 2/2s or 3/4s with like Swamp Walk and not much else going for them. Another way to get Wraiths in our deck, though, is using the Changeling creatures. They have all creature types attached to them, meaning they count as Wraiths, even though they are usually shapeshifters. So one of the best we can use here is Changeling Outcast, a 1-mana 1/1 that can't block, but more importantly, cannot be blocked itself. So as it pumps up off of the Nazgul triggers or gets that base 9 power bonus from the Lord of the Nazgul, you're going to have a seriously potent, unblockable creature to deal with. Another good one here is Bloodline Pretender. Normally it's a pretty mid 2/2 for 3 mana, but as Wraiths start getting played and the token Wraiths start spawning, this thing's going to get nice and big for us. Another good one is Grave Shifter. It's a changeling variation of the Grave Digger zombie card that counts as a Wraith for us, and it can help us get back our Nazgul that might have either been died, been discarded, or milled away. A slightly more expensive variation here would be Shapesharer from the Lorwyn set. A 2-cost 1/1 that can make target shapeshifter into a copy of another creature until end of turn, including itself. So you can make it into a Nazgul and get extra ring temp triggers off of it, or turn it into something else that's going on. There's a lot of possibilities here with this one. Quite possibly, though, the best Wraith card, quote-unquote, here that we have access to actually isn't a Wraith at all, but makes all of our stuff into Wraiths, and that is Maxwood Nexus. For 4 mana, we essentially get all of our creatures turned into changelings, and for 3 mana, you can tap it to make a 2/2 changeling that counts as a Wraith to bolster the ranks. But let's not forget the clones and cloning effects I mentioned just a little bit ago. Let's take a look at these. This is a pile of things that I've compiled together here for us. We have Spark Double, Glasspool Mimic, Mirror Image, Mirror Hall Mimic, Quasi-Duplicate, Irenicus's Vile Duplication, Cackling Counterpart, Blade of Shared Souls, Blade of Selves, and Rite of Replication. So what's better than the 9 Nazgul in the deck? Well, we're going to copy them and get many, many more copies of them. Every time you copy one of these things, you get a new ETB ring temp trigger off of it, even though it's just a copy. and you just get, more and more of them. The best part of this is that many of the copying spells are instants and sorceries, so you're going to get a 3/3 as long as you have your commander out before you get the cloned copy of a Nazgul. And so then when that token comes in, the ring will tempt you and a counter will go on the ring wraith that was created off of the Lord of the Nazgul and the Nazgul token copy itself. Of course, the ultra spice here has to be Blade of Selves and Rite of Replication. Granting a Nazgul Myriad as it swings with the Blade of Selves gives you a copy for each opponent you're attacking, which, if in a 4-player pod, it's going to trigger 3 copies onto the board, and it's going to see that there's 4 Nazgul, including the one that attacked, so each one of them is going to trigger itself 3 times each. So you're going to get to put 12 +1/+1 counters on each ring wraith you control, and go up 3 steps in your ring Tempshu counters as well. Better yet, let's kick Rite of Replication targeting an Nazgul. It's 5 tokens being created, creating 5 triggers of the ring Tempshu, and it's resolving along with the original 6th copy as well, which means 30 +1/+1 counters are going on all wraiths as these things resolve. And these nutty numbers don't even take into account if you've already played other Nazgul or cloned in other extra copies. These only account if there's one Nazgul on the board that you're working with, and keep going with it. But we also want to push the Nazgul even harder, so we're going to add a Temptation package for the Ring Tempshu mechanic. We're going to use Birthday Escape, Call of the Ring, Claim the Precious, Glorious Gale, Ring Sight, Sauron's Ransom, and the Soothing of Smeagol. All these spells do their thing and gives us more Ring Temptation for the Nazgul triggers, and most of them will also net us a 3/3 Wraith off the commander as well, simply for playing them because they are instants and sorceries. But what do we do if our Nazgul are dying or being forced into discard or milled off of our deck? Well, we're gonna bring them back. Let's use things like Ashnod's Intervention, Feigned Death, Malakir Rebirth, Undying Malice, Phyrexian Reclamation, and Haunting Voyage. Most of these are quick, cheap spells that keep them go around long enough to do their thing and bring them back to trigger again. Or if they got milled or discarded, bring them back from the grave to your hand or bring them directly back into the battlefield to trigger multiple times. Alternatively, we can protect them from single target removal with things like Dive Down, Shore Up, and Slip Out the Back to either give them hexproof or phase them out of the game. We can also use a package of flickering spells to do a couple things for us. We're going to use Blur, Displace, Essence Flux, Teferi's Time Twist, Planar Incision, and Displacer Kitten. Not only do these blank single target removal spells, it allows us to blink a Nazgul or a clone just to get another ETB use off the triggers, and repeatedly in the case of the Displacer Kitten. Just be careful about stacking your flickers correctly when using the kitten. Remember, if you use a flicker spell on a target, you can't target the same one with the kitten's trigger, or the spell you started with will lose its target and it will be wasted. Rounding out the deck, we have our mana fixing, just the generic stuff that I've used on the channel before in Historic Brawl, but this is also good in Commander. We have Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Cold Steel Heart, Mind Stone, and Bontu's Monument I count as mana fixing because it reduces the cost of our black creatures and also gives us some ancillary pings and life drain for us. We also have some common removal that I like to use. We have Bone Shards, Feed the Swarm, Finale of Eternity, Languish, and we have the new Raise the Palisade. I put that in instead of like Cyclonic Rift because I know not everybody has $40 to throw around, and Raise is like $10 right now. So it's a good alternative. All you gotta do is name Wraith. So what do you guys think? I had a lot of fun brewing this deck this week, and I'm going to have a variation of it in Historic Brawl coming up later this week as well. So with that said, if there's anything you think I should have put in here or should not have put in here, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.